Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We are sharing the screen tonight as a slide, but I haven't done that quite yet. I need to minimize to do one more thing. So I'm sorry we're starting a couple minutes late. That is not working there. So I don't know what the issue there is. There we go. Share. I'll share this to a page in a second, and then I'll be ready. And there we go. We should be able to now. We are going to go to a slideshow. Get rid of that and should be able to. Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. I see some other folks on island just joined. So Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Erev Shabbat service of the Hebrew Congregation of St. Thomas. We are doing a few new things tonight. The first is that we are trying the PowerPoint presentation as a slideshow, which means it should be larger and less distracting. There still will be black boxes that come on as people ask to be admitted, but I will try to minimize that. The second new thing is that we are streaming to Facebook, which we have done for several weeks, as well as Zoom, and our YouTube channel, and also now, perhaps for the first time, if it is working, we are live streaming our service to the synagogue website as well. So wish us all luck. 2 people have entered the waiting room. I am admitting them, and that is what this black box is. It will go away as soon as I finish admitting them. I'm Rabbi Michael Feshbeck.
I'm Talia Feshbeck.
And we begin the service in one.
You have a senator?
I have Donald Pomeroy.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
There we go. And behold how good it is for everyone to be together, even though we are a few minutes late in starting. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Are we on video?
I think so.
What's happening? The hawkeye of the sun slowly shuts. The breast of the bay is softly feathered, dove gray. The sky is barred like the sand when the tide trickles out, the great doors of Shabbat are swinging open over the ocean, loosing the moon, floating up slow, distorted, vast, a copper balloon just sailing free. The wind slides over the waves, patting them with its giant hand, and the sea stretches its muscles in the deep, purrs and rolls over. The sweet beeswax candles flicker and sigh, standing between the flocks and the roast chicken. The wine shines its red lantern of joy. Here on this piney sand spit, the Shekhinah comes on the short, strong wings of the seaside, sparrow raising her song and bringing down the fresh, clean night. So, Kabbalat Shabbat, the psalms and songs with which we welcome Shabbat. It's supposed to work on here. L'chuna ranana l'Adonai. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. And straight to L'Chadodi for tonight. Stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9. L'Chadodi. Beloved, come to meet the Sabbath bride. Likrat Shabbat.
I think the rabbi left is coming back. Gotta log back in.
Something happened, right?
It's not just you.
It is not just us, no.
No, it froze. We lost him too.
In case you're wondering who my friend is, it's Donald.
Lee, you're now the host.
It
Rabbi
wasn't
gets
on
back.
purpose.
We
It
can
was
all
not on
chat,
purpose, I swear.
we'll just chat amongst ourselves here.
This is technology.
It's a lot like that. It's a series of tubes. Yes.
Donald,
Come in, Rabbi.
This is interesting picture.
It does is it shortens the sermon, you see.
That's what you think.
Well, does Michael have any idea what's going on here?
Somebody text him. Marilyn, text him.
Michael is the one that can't talk, apparently.
The rabbi left the country.
I wonder if he knows that we can't, I wonder if he knows it's all messed up.
He's a mute. You mean you think he's carrying on the service with expectation we're all cheering?
Well, he would
Are
know
you-
it's,
Are you all in St. Thomas?
Yeah.
I'm in St. Croix.
We
I'm in
can't
St. Croix.
hear
Okay.
I'm in Michigan.
We're in Florida.
ourselves, but you
We're
are
in
not.
Florida.
Yeah, the rabbi would know he's not on screen.
He doesn't?
Hey, I
Oh, so
just,
would know,
somebody's
yeah.
in Tampa.
I
We're in
thought.
Sarasota.
I just texted him.
Thank you.
All right, Marilyn, thank you.
How did you get
I'll
that?
text Julie
How'd
too.
that work?
You were getting her poetry, weren't you? Mute us again.
And what we're seeing here, I got it on Facebook too, so they're seeing the Zoom screen on Facebook, all of us chatting.
Oh. That's good.
Well, this is a better way to spend Shabbat maybe anyway.
There you go. You have wine? We need wine.
We are talking.
Wait, I got wine. I can't push it through the screen though.
Break out the Manischewitz.
Oh, God, first the thought.
I'd rather have a Martin.
Got the Cruzan rum. Oh,
There he is. There they are. They're coming, but he's muted himself.
He doesn't want,
He's muted himself.
he doesn't want to talk because he's embarrassed.
There you
So,
go.
hi, yeah,
Right.
Welcome
hello.
home.
apologize. We lost the internet, which has happened about 8 times so far. I
Mazel tov.
apologize for the delay. I gave the best sermon I've ever given in my entire life.
Very inspiring.
Not only was it the best sermon I've ever given, it was also very brief. So we are now going back to Spotlight View. I believe that the stream is somehow still on, but I really just don't know that.
You're allowed to.
Yes, yes.
And so we have finished Lecharori. Thank you all for standing up at the right point. We're going to try to go back to full screen, share screen, and there we go. So we'll go on to the next slide. Why don't we just go to admire the view for a minute? Here, thank you all for your patience. What just happened?
You started from the beginning.
I started from the beginning. Yes, I did. So
It's coronavirus attack.
there we go. And we continue. We continue with Shalom Aleichem. Thank you for your good humor and patience. We continue with Shalom Aleichem on the next slide.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ruachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech,
if you are still with us. I am very glad that you are. We go on to the next slide, Chatzi Kaddish, on the next slide.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
בעלמא דברך יורתה וימליך מלכותי.
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל.
בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו.
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך. לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמר קדושה
בריחו.
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
ושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה.
ויאמרו
Amen. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and in unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. If you are able to do so, please advance the slide. There we go. If you are able to do so, please rise.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach Leolam. Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhma poteach sha'arim, u'vitvuna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misaderet tehem barakia kirtzono. Let's switch to English. Holy One of blessing, sovereign of existence, your word brings on the evening, and your wisdom opens heaven's gates. Your mind spans the arc of time and the cycle of the seasons. You are the physics journey through the skies. Author of all distinction, you roll light away from darkness and darkness away from light. You cause the day to pass and bring on the night, separating day from night. You are the force of nature. May divine order guide us now and always. Blessed is Adonai, whose word makes evening fall. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam.
עמך אהבת. תורה חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך. בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו. איך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבה לעולמי. ברוך אתה אדוני
Yisrael, Ohev Amo, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malachuto, Le'olam va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושננתם לבניך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטחת ישריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Is our audio better now? Is it? Or
I
can
don't
you
know.
guys
I
not-
can't monitor the chat that easily from here, but we keep getting messages.
The audio is still pretty bad.
What?
The audio is still very choppy.
Let me try to change that a little. There's one thing I can do, I hope, or not.
Check the Wi-Fi.
In
Would that work
yeah,
out
no,
better? Or
no, I don't know. Can you hear us better now?
I don't know.
Okay,
We can hear you.
Seems a little better.
Okay.
That seems a little better.
all right,
Okay.
we will see.
Yeah, that is better.
Spoke too soon.
Oh, no, they cut out again.
Now you just cut out again. You're frozen.
Wine glass is huge, by the way.
This looks.
Looks like you could put a whole
It's
bottle.
probably the Wi-Fi.
You
Stan,
don't
can you hear me now?
A little. A little. A
hear
little
Okay,
bit.
well, since you're not muted, why don't you guys read the
Take it over.
We chatted amongst ourselves before.
Go ahead, standing. Go ahead, standing on the parted shores of history. We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at such foot.
Only Egypt.
Wherever we go, it is eternal. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining, marching.
Together.
I am going back to mute. I hope you are able to hear me as we continue with Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Shavutecha, ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu ve'amaru. Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed.
Kifat Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalom yata Adonai.
Baruch Hu Shemo.
Al Yisrael.
Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant our eternal God, that we may lie down in peace and raise us up, our sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful ruler, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. God, coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. Blessed is Adonai, guardian of your people Israel forever. Baruch atah Adonai, shomer Amo Yisrael la'ad. The Shamru on the next slide.
Hopefully, our audio is a little bit better now.
The regular internet seems to be back. So as Talia just said, hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I saw the chat about the internet being unstable, so I switched it back off of our hotspot. We're having a number of technical challenges tonight, but you seem to be sticking with us, for which we are very grateful. We are on lockdown again here, which I will mention again in my remarks later, assuming we get that far through the service. The issue of going out and coming in, we won't do the entire reading here, but just the opening of it. Either you will go through this door or you will not go through. That's just the sentiment. That is the situation that all of us are in on these occasions. We will continue with the Amidah, the Avot V'Imahot. We have also been trying something new tonight. I've gotten some texts indicating that we are, at least at the beginning, successfully live streaming on our own website, as well as our YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook. So there were 4 different ways in which we messed up tonight. Not just one, not just Zoom, but 4 different ways in which our service was interrupted, but also as we get this working for the future, 4 different ways to reach your favorite congregation in the Caribbean. Sorry, the St. Croix people who are listening, I will add one of your favorite congregations in the Caribbean. I don't mean to discourage you from being with us on any occasion.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we continue with the Amidah. The next slide, if you are able to do so, please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, קדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Let's return to the sanctuary in a second.
One moment.
Like she froze again.
I'm being so catty.
Yes, we're all frozen again. It's very frustrating.
Not us, them.
What about
Yeah, that's
Rabbi,
right.
Frozen.
So we're
we're,
out.
we're all good.
Oh,
I think the problem is he's got too many things going on at once.
that might be
Yeah,
it.
maybe having 4 things at once is too much on the system.
Right.
Yeah. The good news is it doesn't happen all the time. So we'll give him this tonight. We'll give him tonight, but that's it.
But Marilyn, he was
We're
trying
not on
something
Facebook.
new tonight. He was adding another streaming to
Well,
make it 4.
Maybe we can do
You know,
practice one.
Marilyn, take over the service, my darling.
What?
No, I was just gonna say it's getting very long.
Take over the service, my leader.
Take it over. Well, if I had the prayer book, I would.
They're back.
Back.
Very good job.
My remarks later tonight, if we ever get there, are supposed to be about feeling centered or what we feel grateful for. This is an interesting illustration of the opposite in several ways. So please,
Maybe we should skip to that till we can correct. I don't know. Never mind.
let's continue in personal prayer for now.
To briefly remind you all, we know things are
Laura.
a little bit messed up with the internet right now, but please keep yourselves muted.
Yeah, once we're back on,
Once
at least.
we're back in sort of services. Although we understand having conversations among yourselves when things go a little whoopsie.
Yeah,
But
loopsy.
please, yeah.
Loopsy is a good word for tonight.
Whoopsie,
So
yeah.
we'll go to the prayer for healing. We all need it in one form or another. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov V'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech ve'yerapeh et hacholim ha'ela. For the names which are before us, for the names which are not before us, for the names we mention out loud, for the names we mention in our heart, for the names we do not know, for all of these we pray for healing, O God. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sheldon Minion, Andrea Weibel, and any others, please unmute for any names you would like to share.
Horwitz.
Embellish. I
Shirley
would
Cohen.
say the people that were hurt in the explosion a few days ago.
Lisa Peterson.
Dorothy Ring.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh Cholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal, who brings us courage.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones we call, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheperach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Sorry about that. Okay, so that look was about the lyrics. I had decided it would be nice for us to see each other for a few moments, and forgot that we don't all know the lyrics by heart. I actually didn't either, so we were all like looking at each other a little, so my apologies. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This has certainly been an interesting and challenging service so far. I was very excited about it, this idea of using the new technology to split the stream. That is not the reason we are having internet problems. That is unrelated, at least I think so. But the topic for tonight is one we have demonstrated, I think, already this evening. First of all, we are here in the Virgin Islands on lockdown once again. This is the yellow, stage yellow. We have had so many cases recently. They have spiked so fast here that we are shutting back down for a few weeks. It reminds me a little bit of the time period of the hurricanes, after the hurricanes, when some people left the island and others didn't. And everybody sort of pointed fingers at everybody else about you're leaving and you're staying and why are you doing this and why are you doing that? And this feeling of, is it the tourists or is it us? Are we doing this to ourselves? Are these family celebrations? Are these people who are visiting? There's really just a feeling, not of a circular firing squad, but of a sort of everybody feeling frustrated and pointing fingers and laying blame, and there may be some blame to go around, but the question is whether that's a productive place to be in the long run. The Torah portion this week, Parshat Re'eh, lays out before us a choice between life and death, blessing and curse. But then it goes on to an interesting moment of history. This is with chapter 12, the heart of the law code of Deuteronomy. And it is the story of the federal government laying out a national plan, dealing with all of the different municipalities and cities that want to do things in dozens of different ways that contradict each other and conflict with each other. This is the story, probably from the year 622 before the Common Era, of King Josiah, who is conducting a renovation in Washington, D.C., in Jerusalem. And while the temple is being reconstructed, renovated, it's having a shiputz, the word in Hebrew, one of my favorite words in Hebrew, a shiputz, a renovation. The old word for it was, in Hebrew, was renovatia. When it was undergoing a renovation, Josiah found a book. And the book tells him to do exactly what he would have wanted to do politically in the first place anyway. The question is whether he found the book or whether he wrote the book. But it seems to be that at least what he found was part of the book of Deuteronomy, or wrote the book of Deuteronomy. Because with this week's portion, Josiah closes down all of the shrines in all of the territories and all of the states that are just doing things their own way, imposes a national policy, centralizes worship at the temple in Jerusalem, and by the way, then opens McDonald's and Wendy's franchises all over. Because before this, you couldn't get a hamburger without going to a shrine, but there was a shrine on every hill or everywhere throughout the country. So all slaughter of meat was a kind of sacred sacrament. And now, with the only sacrifices being offered in Jerusalem, in order to have a hamburger, you could go to the same place, but it wasn't considered the same level of needing a priest to do it. The priests that were all over the country that were scattered and doing things their own way were all put out of work or all brought into Jerusalem to develop this national plan. But it is not the analogy to our current situation politically or government structure that I want to focus on tonight. I am reminded of the psychological reading of Torah, which says this may have happened, this may not have happened, but what's more important about whether it happened then and there and to them is what happens inside of us. This is the psycho-spiritual reading of Torah. It is the reading of the journeys of our ancestors as something that all of us go through as well. And so what is that journey we are embarking on with this week's portion? It is a journey of going from being scattered and all over the place to a sense of bringing ourselves, of pulling ourselves together. The question in English is of feeling centered. To me tonight, Josiah's centralization, as much as I have been moved by it my whole life, for other reasons, to me tonight, I am looking at this from a spiritual point of view, in a very different way. Are we coming together or are we falling apart? Are we feeling diminished, distracted, pulled on, or are we rising to the best that is in us, the best of ourselves? If we were together in person, I might ask for individual reactions or contributions here, but I ask you to look inside yourselves and answer this question. When have you been the most Marilyn, the most Sharon, the most Norma, the most Josh, the most Hank you have ever been? When have you felt centered? When have you felt that you lived up to who you wanted to be? When have you not done that? And which one of those is this time and this challenge bringing out in you? I have to say that the longer this goes on, the greater uncertainty. This really is a time of great challenge. There are things that our tradition has to offer, and I will come to a story in a moment and close with that. There are also things that our tradition has to teach. I am reminded that center is related to the sense of being balanced. And the great teacher Rambam Maimonides wrote of finding the middle path, that if you find yourself reacting in an extreme way, in any way, that you compensate by doing the opposite. There was only one trait, he said, that you are not supposed to do this with, that you are to snuff it out altogether. The only time you are supposed to demonstrate that trait, he said, is for teaching in order to make a point, but you're not actually supposed to feel it. The great destructive power that he spoke about was that of anger. But for everything else, if you are too mild, he said, be more assertive. If you are, rarely a problem that Jews have, but you never know. If you are too bold, be more cautious. This is an act of balancing. But I jump from Maimonides to the same teacher we cited last week when we told the story of the treasure, Rabbi Simcha Bunim of Pshich, who tells one of my favorite Hasidic tales. And it is one that I am preaching not to you, but to myself right now for the needs of this time. He said that every human being should have in their coat pocket, in their two coat pockets, a note, one in each pocket. When you are feeling like the world owes you, when you are feeling like you should be in charge and you can't believe the idiots around you, when you are feeling a sense of entitlement and arrogance, you should reach into one pocket and pull out a note which says, Ani Efer va'afar, I am but dust and ashes. On the other hand, when you are feeling alone, despondent, that you can't see through to the other side of this challenge or any other, you reach into the other pocket and you take out the other note. Bishvili nivra et ha'olam. The world, the universe, was created for my sake. How do we step forward in our lives in a way which is balanced, in a way which is centered? One way we can help each other do it, even when we want to point fingers, and even when we're right to do so. Quit that Facebook group, or don't read the comments on a news article, or turn off the news after the first 5 minutes of headlines. step back, step up, step through. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And so, Marilyn, I will turn to you. After this slide, I can pull the other one back up in a minute, but let me then stop the share for a moment. Let's find Marilyn and spotlight her. So there you are, Marilyn. Spotlight video and unmute. There you go. Welcome to the president of our congregation, Marilyn Blackhall, as I mute myself.
Thank you all for being here, for enjoying the parts of the service that we could enjoy. And thank you, Rabbi, for really trying to put us in the next generation, so to speak. Even if it might have been a little too quickly, I'm sure we're going to get there by next week, right? Anyway, probably going to be a little bit repetitious of what the rabbi said, but I was driving home today and I was thinking about this, and with the rapid spread of the coronavirus, even here now in the Virgin Islands, health officials are constantly warning us to keep good hygiene. Make sure you scrub your hands very often, 20 seconds, cover your nose and mouth. And when you cough, avoid contact with strangers. And some tech experts are also telling us to clean our tech devices because they're saying that the viruses can live on the surface of our screens and on this and on that for days. I don't know if that's true because some are fighting that, but this has made a lot of us take extra measures, which I won't go into except to say that we are sanitizing everything under the sun. I have an office with a public bathroom, though only 2 other people use it, but my routine of cleaning my hands when I touch the doorknobs, the water faucets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, some of you would find laughable and a bit crazy. Anyway, while driving home today, I was thinking whether I was being as careful about physical infections, anyway, for the lack of a better word, than I am about spiritual infections. I mean, have you thought about that? What if we were just as careful about spiritual viruses as we are trying to be about physical ones that we or other people can spread? And what I mean by spiritual viruses are negative words and actions. Negative words and actions. And think, how careful are you being? Because that's what I was thinking. How careful am I being? Isn't it true that we live somewhat in an age of impulse and instant gratification and social media, for example? A lot of us just don't hesitate to voice our immediate reaction to every story under the sun, which the rabbi was alluding to a little bit. I've really been trying not to do this, but I'm sure I do. And is every Facebook post worthy of our likes, our sarcasm, our comments? Not every tweet is worthy to be retweeted, and not every text is worthy of a response from us. Sometimes we're so quick to speak back, we can forget to think in the urge to answer. In the urge to answer, emotions can block out our clear, rational thought. In the heat of disagreements and arguments, our minds often lose control, and we become the victims of spiritual viruses. And we can spread them. So, as I've been saying, I don't know why I was thinking of this as I was driving home. And I was thinking that while during services, I'll be praying about the pandemic coming to an end and hoping world governments and agencies will quickly find the tools to combat and eradicate it. In the meantime, maybe it would be better for me, and maybe you too, to learn some life lessons that we can take to make us better human beings, specifically the lesson that we can use the same hygiene with our thoughts and actions that we use with our hands and our faces and our devices. So that's the thought I'm leaving you with. And I'm greeting all of our members of our congregation, our high members, our visitors, and I hope our website is ready for you to become a high member if you're not on it. And I believe the rabbi will tell you about what's going on besides services tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., followed by Torah study. Is there anything else, Rabbi?
At the moment, we have a busy week of high holiday preparation, and beyond that, nothing else this week. But 2 Friday nights from now, we have a guest cantor, Dottie Goldberg, who Julie and I went to college with. She is part-time in Puerto Rico, but lives in Portland now. And she will be joining us, although she's joining us from Europe, so it will be like midnight her time. On the 28th, the day of the March on Washington, we are going to conduct our own. Remember what Pete Seeger said about, protests in the 1960s? Yeah, other people may have had different causes, but we had the best songs. This is Songs of Peace and Justice, 2 weeks from now on August 28th for services at 6:30 p.m. We are busy planning virtual high holiday services, and thank you all once again for your perseverance tonight. I do think, however, I once got into a great deal of trouble for skipping Aleinu because the educator came up to me after the service and said, but Rabbi, we've taught our completely confused.
We are losing you again, Rabbi.
Can you hear?
We are losing you again.
Can hear me? We're going to go direct waves. Which is the internet. To go back to the original here. So here we go. You should be able to hear me now. That should work now.
Can hear you fine now.
Okay. We switched back to the original internet. Once again, the part that I didn't hear Marilyn for, I'm sure was the best thing she ever said. The part that I did hear her of was very good, actually. We are jumping all the way to Kaddish in case we get cut off again. So my apologies for skipping Aleinu. There are stars whose radiance is visible on this earth, though they have long since ceased to exist. There are people whose light and whose warmth continue to share for us, though they are no longer among us. These stars which shine in the dark of the night, they light the way for humankind. We remember at this time those of our congregation's beloved whose yahrzeit occurs on this Shabbat: Joshua ben Lisa, Samuel A. Fierzig, Betty Herder, Nathan Barnard Joseph, Frieda Lang, Henry Chaim Levy, Rachel Bays Levy, David Levy, Julia Levy, Levy daughter Maduro, Rebecca Levy Maduro, Harold Manassan, Joshua Nahr, Hannah Caroline Nunez, Felix Numez, Deborah Olympia Pereira, Louis Richwerger, Ruth Helen Richwerger, Ruben Rosenthal, Judah Sasso, Moses Sasso, Hilda Scora, stillborn female, Volobre. We observe yahrzeit for the following high members and those dear to our high members: Norman Aflalo, Howard Alderman, Frank Arduin, Ann Bagelman, Martin Beal, Marcella Bullmash, Sadie Burke, Beatrice Cohen, Shirley Davidson, Marion Engel, Sharon Fagan, Ruth Fine, Samuel Gelman, Anthony Generelli, Edith Goldstein, Lucy Goldstein, Abraham Gorin, Henrietta Guberman, Rose Cantor, George Keller, John Kickle, Sally Codis, Robbie Lally, Diane Lander, Percy Lehrer, Lenny Lickeroux, Arthur Levine, Elliot Lipschitz, Dora Lubell, Rebecca Miller, Shai Milstein, Lena Moak, Cantor Murray Nixon, Jean Noble, Leroy Paget, David Pardo, Tom Perigo, Laurel Reese, Bessie Rosenberg, Ruth Rubenstein, Philip Shannon, Emmanuel Schwartz, Sylvia Schwartz, Roberta Sadaka, Lillian Schulman, Herman Solomon, Nathan Spiegel, Leon Sporn, Seymour Wasserman, Ralph Weber, Stuart Weiss, Kenneth Weisblum. During this period of Shloshim, Ellen Victoria Ben Chaim, our congressman, our delegate to Congress, Ron DeLugo, and Murray Sharon. Are there any other names in Kaddish, either for this year or for during Shloshim, or anyone else who has Yartzeit, or any of the names I may have mispronounced?
Joseph Zuckerman.
Harold Monison.
Murray Feshbeck. The memories of all of our loved ones are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled. As we continue now with Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, the next slide, and if you are able to do so, please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach chirotei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, uya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn during this time of pandemic, all who mourn among us, all who are facing this terrible loss of this time period everywhere in our community, in our congregation, in our country, in our world, as we are bound together in this common sense of fear and sadness at this time. And let us say, Amen. I have one announcement I forgot to make earlier. It is about my daughter. I announced that we are being joined by Cantor Dorothy Goldberg in 2 weeks, but next Friday night is Talia's last service with us as somebody physically sitting next to me. She may be able to join us, I hope, in the future virtually, but we will be joined in early September by our cantorial soloist Luba Dolgopolsky from her home, as long as we are doing this virtually, and then by our student cantor Lainey Zell for the high holidays. We have an amazing high holiday experience planned. It really should be beautiful. It really should have some internet backup plans and several different hosts. So we will figure that out so it goes smoothly. But please bring us and bring 10 friends, and please join us for the high holy days. We are going to tempt fate and tempt our luck with one more closing song tonight. So please join us for the Ladino setting, the Sephardic tradition of Ein Kelohenu, non como nuestro Dios. And unless you are Sephardic or you grew up in this congregation, this is not your grandmother's Ein Kelohenu, which, you are Ein Kelohenu. This is different if you have not heard this before.
nuestro Rey, quien como nuestro Salvador. No del Eloheinu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkeinu, no del Moshienu. Gloremos a nuestro Dios, gloremos a nuestro Señor, gloremos a nuestro Rey, gloremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendicho nuestro Dios, bendicho nuestro Señor, bendicho nuestro Rey, bendicho nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. 1 second and I will stop the live stream.